Part 24. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 232. Chapter 232, Everyone's Changes. Looking at the time, it was really late, so Mei Shui went to prepare dinner again. Mr. Shi came to Kyoto with the wine. As soon as he returned home, he called his only son back, regardless of whether he had anything to do in the army. "Dad, what do you want from me?" Shi Zongguo looked a little unhappy when he came back. Lately, things have become more and more chaotic. Even their troops are following the trend, and they are surrounded by irritability every day. "Why, something happened to you too," Mr. Shi said seriously. "Otherwise, nothing is happening now, and I don't know how long it will take for things to stabilize. Some people are looking for trouble every day, and don't even look at the people outside who are eyeing their country. Can you still cope with it? If not..." Mr. Shi didn't say the next words, but Shi Zongguo could see what his father meant. "I'm okay, I won't stand in line, but this time you take Wei Chen away when you leave. I'm afraid he won't be able to hold on. Kyoto is in chaos, and many people want to drag people into trouble. Well, I have this idea when I come back this time. If possible, you can just take a leave of absence anyway, there is still 1 year left before graduation." I told him, and he agreed. Shi Zongguo smiled. There are also some people around him, but I don't know what those people's intentions are yet. "That's it, come with me to the hospital tomorrow." "I'm sick." Mr. Shi was very smart. "Good." After the father and son talked for a while, the daughter-in-law called for dinner. Uncle Shi took out the wine and said, "Come on, let's get drunk together." After saying that, the old man glanced at his daughter-in-law and said, "Wenli, remember to call someone to take us to the hospital later. Wenli is not stupid. She is a school teacher. In the school not far from her husband, not only are there some inexplicable people around her son, but she is also here. But she can live on her own. The worst she can do is not go to work and just go to the army to accompany him." "Okay, but Dad, please take it easy, your body is still your own," Ma Wenli said worriedly. "Don't worry, you'll have 2 glasses of wine in a while. This wine is good." When he thought of this wine, he felt very grateful to Xiaoxiu. While eating and drinking, Shi Zongguo and Ma Wenli soon discovered something was wrong with the wine. "Dad," both of them were surprised. "Don't shout, drink, remember to finish drinking." He didn't get much of this good stuff. "Hey," the two of them exclaimed happily. "But I didn't ask too much." That night, screams and weeping came from the historians in the compound. Many people were woken up. After learning that something happened to Shijia, they all came to help, regardless of whether they were sincere or not. But as long as the result Uncle Shi wants is achieved. In this way, the news that Uncle Shi was seriously ill spread in Kyoto. Some people said that he was dead, some said that he could not survive, and some said that the old man was in good health. It has everything. What exactly is going on, only their family knows. This illness lasted for half a month. The person is awake, but the old man needs to rest. Whether he can recover or not is unknown. Even the people in the hospital are shaking their heads and sighing. So the grandson of the Shi family who was studying at university quit his studies, and Shi Zongguo's wife retired. It is said that historians have declined, but are these important? Mr. Shi's disease has caused many old men to fall ill. This matter is not a small matter, but everyone is aware of the age. Finally, Mr. Shi took a few friends to Zhao's hometown to rest. At the beginning, everyone thought there must be a ghost and sent people to follow the incident. The doctor never rested along the way. After arriving at the place, the old men all lived in a small courtyard to rest. Play chess, take medicine, and hang out outside every day. 2 months later, those who were staring were removed by the owner, and Mr. Shi was truly relieved. "Why don't you go to Hejiakan? You just want to leave a way out here." Until the Mid-Autumn Festival, the elderly are truly free. In the past 2 or 3 months, Hians invested all his money in the fleet. Not only that, he also personally went to Qianxiang and Guji and told them to use his own car to pull the goods and he would deliver them personally. In a short period of time, he received this big business, which was a good start after adding more cars. Now is the peak season, so he goes back twice a month to pick up vegetables, which is convenient for him. Xiangyang and Xiaolai are also very happy. Guji has taken care of the long-distance transportation, and they have established friendly relations with the police in various places. In the village, Xiaobai, Hianwei and others also dug out hot springs. When the hot water came out at first, it scared a few people in the cave half to death. The happiest thing is that Mei Shui is finally out of the water, even if the amount of water is not too large. Take your time, step by step, don't rush. The last drink may have brought Anwen and the others too much benefit, and their minds were spinning rapidly. Anwen and Anshan spent more time together. They felt that it was not cost-effective to buy wine from Uncle Jigui all the time, so they did not make wine in the past few months, but began to plan to make their own rice wine. Mei Shui has no objection to this matter. If she wants money, she will give him money. If he wants prescriptions, she will give them prescriptions. With the efforts of the two of them, they finally found a private wine shop in the town. The boss didn't want to transfer it, but who allowed his son to make a living and get married in a big city, and now he took them away. So the winery had to be renovated, but if the winery was moved, the workers would also be retained. After Anwen and the others discussed the matter with Mei Shui, they took over the winery and further increased their capital. Because Mei Shui contributed money and prescriptions, the 4 of them also invested some money. In the end, Mei Shui got 60% of the profit, and each of the 4 of them received 10%. The wine shop has also been officially established, and there is no need to stay sealed in the old house every day. Leave the management to Anwen and the others, she only charges money. Because of this, my grandma scolded her for quite a while, saying she was stupid. Why didn't she do it herself when she had money and a good idea? Mixia shook her head and said she was too tired. She just wanted to grow vegetables and raise fish at home. She would let them do the hard work and she would be responsible for collecting the money. The matter is settled. No matter how uncomfortable Grandma he feels, she can't scold her every day. With the addition of the pastry shop, Aunt Zillion and her family will really not be able to live in the village forever. But the family had just built a pig house, and Li Shuang was even more reluctant to part with Mei Shui. Fortunately, as the child grew up, Aunt Zillion handed over the work of the pastry shop to her step by step, while Aunt Zillion stayed at home to feed the pigs. Aunt Mei Lian had a bit of a problem here, but in the end she still chose to stay in the village. She left the pastry shop and handed it over to Li Shuang. Mid-Autumn Festival is a day of reunion. Those in the village who were working or doing business outside all returned home. Even some married daughters returned to their parents' families. There is no way, who made the conditions in Hejiakan better this year. Don't stop voting. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 233. Chapter 233, Comic Book, Please vote for me, please vote for recommendations. Xiaoxiu, Aunt Zillion, and the others said that we should all celebrate the festival together. What do you say? Hians received the job as soon as he came back and asked him to go home and inform his grandma and wife. Mei Shui was playing with the children, thinking about how to use the back mountain and what Hians said. Casual. Last night he was tortured again, and she didn't have a good look on him. Grandma, he walked out of the kitchen. Who told you this? She also heard what Ans said. Uncle Gensi and Uncle Genke. Hians looked at his grandma and said. Grandma, he thought for a while, whose house should I go to? Let's go to Aunt Mylian's house. Sister Lixia and her family are all here, Uncle Genkei said when he came. That's it, take the mooncakes and some cooked vegetables from home. We, Zioxiu, will go there later. Grandma, he understood what they meant. Sure, I'll go right away. Hians was also very happy that Grandma could have a good relationship with them. After Hians took the things and left, Mei Shui looked at her grandma and said, Grandma, if you don't want to, we don't have to go. She doesn't rely on others. It's okay, they just want to thank you. She has given them such great benefits, and she would not be relieved if they were not grateful. Oh, Grandma, it's okay if you don't have any objection. Mei Shui didn't care after seeing the genuine smile on her grandma's face. Hello, Ans came back yesterday, and today is August 15th. Time flies by very quickly, and the children will soon be 1 year old. It has been 3 years since she came to this world. I never imagined that she could also live a dream life. By the way, Zioxiu, that boss Huang is coming to pull fish tomorrow, right, Grandma? He asked after thinking about this. Well, and Yang said it will be tomorrow. The fish in this season are getting fat. Then remember to give Yang some money after selling the fish tomorrow. It's not easy after working for several months. People really change. I know, I will give him 200 yuan when the time comes. Mei Shui had already thought about this. Just make up your own mind. During the Mid-Autumn Festival, Hians came back with a lot of Mid-Autumn Festival gifts prepared by Guji and Qianziang. Don't have too many snacks at home. Where is Xiao? Grandma? He looked around and asked, not seeing Xiao. He took Xiao Bai to the back mountain. There was a hot spring there. He said he wanted to take a bath. Mei Shui smiled, but unexpectedly, it turned out to be a bathing place. That kid, you really have a lot of ideas, but it's not bad to wash there. I'll try it someday. Grandma? He was also very novel. Grandma, why don't we build a small house there, so that it's convenient for us to go there? Now people in the village only know about it and have all gone to see it. But as soon as they get started, everyone wants to try it, even if winter comes. Well, there are a lot of small pits there. Let Wei and the others dig deeper, then we can divide the men and women. Winter is coming, and the villagers may have other ideas. Grandma? He shook her head and sighed. Mei Shui understands, let alone the people in the village, she has many ideas of her own. I understand, Grandma. This matter must be arranged as soon as possible to avoid trouble later. However, if you really want to dig out a bathhouse, it cannot be too close to the source. What will you do if you use it at home? She is also planning to build a house there. It won't be too warm to live there in winter. After having an idea in mind, Mei Shui planned to discuss it with Hians at night to see if he had any good ideas. On the Mid-Autumn Festival, everyone gathered at He Genkei's home. This time Lixia's whole family came over, including her father-in-law, mother-in-law, and sister-in-law. It was a shame for Lixia. Sister-in-law, this sister-in-law is so beautiful. Lixia's sister-in-law was only a teenager. When she was young, when she saw a beautiful woman, she would inevitably feel a little jealous, of course, well-intentioned jealousy. No, Zioxiu is the most beautiful wife in our village, Lixia said to Rong Yan. Sister-in-law, do you know why her skin is so good? After saying that, she touched her peeling face. Lixia was also a little envious. Let's go, I'll take you there. She also wanted to know. Ever since giving birth to the child, she has had those little freckles on her face, which really makes her very unhappy. As soon as Mei Shui arranged the children, she saw Sister Lixia walking over with a girl. Sister Lixia. Mei Shui nodded politely to sister-in-law Lixia. Zioxiu, I have something to ask you. Come, let's have a talk. After saying that, Lixia took Mei Shui's hand and looked at the third grandma who was staring at her. Third grandma, can you lend me Zioxiu for a while? Grandma. He was speechless. Okay, but you have to return it later. Zioxiu belongs to my family. Yes, Grandma. He is also very naughty. I know, I will definitely give it back to you. Lixia laughed. The three women walked aside, and Lixia quickly introduced her sister-in-law, Xiaoxiu. This is your brother-in-law's cousin. She came with us to have fun during the holiday. Mei Shui looked at the little girl who had been staring at her with a confused expression, but she still smiled and said, "Hello. Look at my brain, you can just call her Lily, her real name is Wang Lily," Lixia said with an annoyed look on her face. "Hello Lily, my name is Mei Shui, you can call me Mei Shui." With strangers, Mei Shui still didn't talk much. Hearing her speak like this, Wang Lily found it very interesting. "Hello, Sister Mei Shui." Friendships between women are sometimes easy to establish. Just like now, three women quickly started a fight. "I'll have this incense ready by then and I'll ask An Liang to bring it to you, but I don't have it on hand now." After knowing their destination, Mei Shui said with a speechless expression. "The relationship is good, Xiaoxiu's sister. I am getting older, please remember to give me more, I will buy you candies when the time comes." Hearing Lixia's words, Mei Shui said very calmly, "Sister Lixia, I am not a grandma. Only her grandma can be bribed with milk candies. I understand what I said. If I don't want to buy candy, can I get you some beautiful clothes?" Lixia also laughed. "I feel even more bold that I dare to arrange the third grandma." Wang Lily felt that she had nothing to offer, but, "Sister Mei Shui, do you read? What she loves most is books. Look, I'm most interested in reading the comic book Journey to the West." Mei Shui really liked that comic book. When Wang Lily heard this, she said, "Ah, Sister Mei Shui, do you like to read that comic strip? I have this one. I have a lot of this." "Why does she have so many? They are all her brothers." "Okay. Sister Mei Shui, if you like it, I'll give you a few sets." She didn't look much at it, but she knew that the things came in sets. "Okay, thank you Sister Lily." Mei Shui changed her face even faster. So, after Mei Shui paid for 3 bottles of facial cream, she got several sets of comic books and clothes. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 234. Chapter 234, Repairing an Old House. Everyone gets together during the Mid-Autumn Festival, and the women don't say much because they have children at home and just have a meal. The men are much more comfortable, and the wine on the table never stops. Everyone's face was red from drinking. The one who was the most drunk was He Zhengting. Maybe he looked away, maybe he was deeply hit. Now he doesn't have the momentum of Big Brother at all. "It's all my fault. If I had watched her more carefully, your sister-in-law wouldn't be like this." Looking at his wife who had been sitting outside, He Zhengting felt regretful. And An Lin is so heartless that he actually married a daughter-in-law and forgot about his mother, who is his own mother. No matter how much he said, no one agreed with him. Everyone just listened and let him vent. It turned out that it was Lixia's father-in-law who asked a few questions before going to bed at night. After learning the situation, he was really scared to death and kept mumbling about the fact that Lixia was married to him and so on. At night, Mei Shui helped He Ans, who was a little drunk, go upstairs. Forget about taking a shower. How could he take a shower like this? Mei Fa's face was filled with disgust. "Grandma, please take Xiao and the others to bed. Xiaopeng and Xiaocheng will trouble you tonight." He didn't wash, and Mei Shui still had to wash. It was uncomfortable and smelled bad. "Okay, just watch Ans more and don't choke if you drink too much." Grandma, he was afraid that He Ans would be unconscious and choke to death when he vomited. "Yeah, I know." Fortunately, the children were very well behaved and fell asleep after being washed at night. After Mei Shui cleaned herself, she took out a pill she had mixed from the space. This was the first time she had mixed it. She had not taken it before and didn't know how effective it was. Looking at the really drunk man, Mei Shui opened his mouth and threw the pills in. Hope it's useful. After saying that, Mei Shui clapped her hands, turned off the light, climbed into the bed and fell asleep. Hians was a little dizzy, but his body felt very uncomfortable, as if it was about to burst. He felt something was wrong, and his consciousness began to wake up. He immediately used the tiny internal force to stabilize the chaotic force in his body. Half an hour later, he opened his eyes and asked, "What's going on? Can other alcohol increase internal energy?" Hians was confused when he saw that his internal energy was even stronger than before. Mei Shui was sleeping soundly at this time, so she had no time to care about Hians. Besides, being drunk could really choke someone to death? She didn't believe it. After a while, Hians felt that he smelled very unpleasant, so he immediately got up from the bed, opened the door gently and went downstairs. He has to take care of himself first. Xiaoxiu doesn't dislike him, but he does. After taking a bath, Hians woke up and happened to run into Grandma when he came out of the back room. "It's you. I thought there was a thief in the house." Grandma he held a kitchen knife in her hand. If the light in the room hadn't shone on Hians, she would have gone up to chop him. Of course, Hians saw the knife in Grandma's hand and was frightened. "Grandma, if you find something wrong at home in the future, don't do it yourself." "Heh, is there someone else my old lady is afraid of?" Grandma he said with a nonchalant look. "Why don't you take a bath? If you don't sleep in the middle of the night, you'll be so noisy." "Okay, I'll go to bed right away." "Grandma, you should go back to sleep quickly, otherwise you won't be energetic tomorrow." Hian sent Grandma into the room first, and looked at the two children on the bed. He felt very comfortable in his heart. "What are you looking at? Why don't you go up to bed?" Grandma he looked dissatisfied. "Okay, I'll leave now." "Grandma, you can go to sleep too." Hians left the room gently and turned off the lights in the room before leaving. Looking at his wife sleeping on the bed, Hian's restless heart began to beat again. He would be at home tomorrow anyway, so why not? Mei Shui was now completely at ease with Hians, not defensive at all, and she was even more familiar with his aura. His approach did not wake her. Until... You beast! That night, Mei Shui had not fallen asleep since midnight. People with strong physical strength were tortured like this. It was dawn, and the rooster outside was crowing. "Let me go quickly." Mei Shui couldn't figure out why his energy was so good. "Weren't you drunk yesterday? If you don't let her go, I won't let her go." "Wife, let's have another daughter," Hians teased. "Meigs, you really couldn't accept the child anymore." "No, my daughter, he was dreaming." "Then don't give birth, wife. Come on, let's change our actions." It wasn't until Grandma's shouting sounded outside that Hians let go of Mei Shui. "If you're tired, you can sleep a little longer. I'll take care of the child today." Mei Shui looked at the man in front of her who had changed obviously, and immediately thought about the pill she gave him yesterday. "Has your internal strength increased again?" Hians was stunned for a moment, then laughed. "No, I didn't expect that one drink would actually increase my internal energy by 10%. Mei Shui regrets. "I really regret." Is she crazy? Not wanting to look at him again, Mei Shui closed her eyes and said, "You take care of the children today. Also, if someone is coming to collect fish today, go and keep an eye on them. There is nothing to do today, let her sleep." "Okay, you rest and leave these things to me. He will definitely do it beautifully." I didn't see Xiaoxiu getting up in the morning. As a person who has been there, Grandma he certainly knows what happened. "You brat, you just want to tire Xiaoxiu to death." After scolding, Grandma he gave Hians a roll of her eyes. Xiao knew that fish would be sold at home today, so as soon as he finished eating, he went to the fish pond to guard the fish. He also brought his own friends. Of course the big fish are for sale, and if there are some small fish, the villagers will take a few back to eat. Grandma he had already told Xiao to take them, but not to take too many. 3 or 4 would be enough. If there were more, they would be in trouble. Lixia's parents-in-law and her husband had to go to work, so they only had 2 days off during the Mid-Autumn Festival. After eating in the morning, they started preparing to leave the village. Lixia came over to find Mei Shui. After learning that she was still sleeping, she left the He family courtyard with a smile. But the shyness on his face blinded the man. The fish was sold, and after collecting the money, Grandma He gave He Anyong 200 yuan directly, which was not a lot of money, but not a lot. He Anyong really wanted to give it up, but he was more afraid of the serious face of the third grandma, so he accepted it obediently. I also took away 3 or 4 large fish, each weighing at least 5 or 6 kilograms. After Hian stayed at home for 3 days, he also drove back to the county seat. He also wanted to deliver groceries to Qianziang and Guji. In the town, after Uncle Shi once again made sure that no one was watching, he took old man Zhao and started to make plans for Hejia village. Meixiu didn't want the old house to remain abandoned like this. It happened that the villagers started harvesting rice, and soon they were all idle. It was just in time to ask some people to help renovate the house. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 235. Chapter 235, Asking for Help, Please vote for recommendations, please vote for monthly votes. Mei Shui plans to build a brick house in this house. After discussing it with her Grandma He certainly agrees. If she builds a brick house, this will be the first one in the village. Once the decision was made, preparations had to begin. A brick house was not that simple. Not only did workers have to be hired, but the bricks also had to be hauled. This work could not be done with a horse-drawn carriage. Mei Shui was thinking about when to go to the county town and ask Hians to come back. Xiaomei, the bathhouse in the back mountain is about to start moving. Grandma He hugged Xiaopeng and was learning to walk on the ground, and said to Mei Shui, who was standing aside, "Well, I'm thinking of building a brick house, as the wooden house won't last long." "That's right. With that temperature, I'm afraid the house won't be usable in a few years. This house will cost a lot of money. Do you have any plans after repairing it?" Meixiu thought for a while and asked, "How about charging money?" It was not very good for the villagers to charge money. It's definitely not a good idea to collect money from the villagers, but we'll be at a loss if we just give it to them, so we have to find a way. Grandma He said unwillingly. Mei Shui is not a saintly person either. "Why don't we charge less, maybe 20 cents or 10 cents per person? This is a long-term business. Water is free anyway." Grandma He thought for a while, and finally nodded. "In this way, for 20 cents per person, you can take a bath and wash clothes, but the road there needs to be repaired." After calculating all the calculations, Grandma He thought, if you don't count it, it's sealed. The more she calculated, the more she felt at a loss. Mei Shui was happy, she liked her grandma's Philistine attitude. "Okay, just 2 cents per person, no matter adults or children. Calculated, it only costs 1 yuan at most for a family, and people in the village are not short of this money now." Well, compared to her grandmother's unwillingness, Mei Shui focused more on repairing the house. Kei Hians has just left not long ago, she still has to wait. "But you can hire workers first, and you need to find someone familiar with this matter, which is not the case here in Mei Shui." What she didn't expect was that she told He Anyong about this so smoothly, thinking that he actually knew someone. Mei Shui was very surprised by this. "Then please help me with this matter since you know them. Ask how much a full package costs and how much a half package costs." Mei Shui's eyes lit up and she said to He Anyong. He Anyong originally thought that he would have no work for some days, but he didn't expect that his sister-in-law would give him a new job, which was very exciting. "Okay, I'll go find old man Zhang now." Mr. Zhang is an old man that he Jiang met in the town. He is a pretty good person, and he has a good relationship with Mr. Zhang on weekdays. This time something happened to him, and old man Zhang went to the Public Security Bureau to check on him. He still remembered this fact. Okay, you can take this little money, but you can't go empty-handed when inviting people. Mei Shui, who is worldly and sophisticated, has become more and more comfortable in her grasp. Okay, then I'm leaving, sister-in-law. Go, remember to tell your parents, don't let them worry. Aunt Yang is very good these days. Yeah, I know. It's still early now. He comes and goes again and again, and he Anyong is afraid that he won't be able to come back until the afternoon. Mei Shui was not one to wait. After the fish pond improved, she went to the back mountain. After looking at the location, she planned to let Hianwei and the others take action. Fortunately, Hian's bought this place instead of contracting it, otherwise he would have lost money. Xiaobai, from now on we will build a big villa here and plant some flowers and fruits around this flat land. Then we will go back to the mountains to find some medicinal seeds. There will be vegetables behind the house. Don't let your little life be too beautiful. Mei Shui held little Bai Dolly in her arms and looked forward to it. Xiaobai was speechless. Master, have you given Grandma the health building exercises? Also, have you given Hians the pills to take? Xiaobai is more concerned about these things. I gave it, but Grandma is not interested. Of course, she is always there every day. A few days ago, Grandma looked very displeased with me. It felt like I was causing trouble for her, but fortunately she persisted. But that pill is not bad. After taking one, his internal strength increased. When talking about this, Mei Shui regretted it terribly. But the pain in it is beyond words. The bitter pill can only be swallowed by oneself. That proves that the prescription is right. Master, you can try to mix some low preparation pills just in case. Xiaobai was thinking about Mei Shui. Why, Mei Shui didn't know. Even if she knew how to heal, she didn't intend to treat others. You must know that in this era, it is not possible to practice medicine just by knowing how to do it. Master, this thing is much more than the money you earn from selling vegetables and wine. You won't have to be so tired in the future. Xiaobai found a perfect excuse. Most of them want to eat by themselves. You can have this, but who should I sell it to? This thing is not cheap, you know. A 300-year-old ginseng cost 10,000 yuan, but the medicinal materials here are all more than 500-year-old. What are you afraid of? Old, she has a good background. You can sell it to him. Besides, the richer and more powerful people are, the more they are afraid of death, Xiaobai said with disdain. Back then, many powerful people begged the favor of their master just to live a few more years. It's a pity that his master was very arrogant. Not to mention saving people, many people died in his hands. This is a good idea, but I have to think carefully about the formula. She is not a god. She can think of anything and still has to debug it. As soon as he Anyong came to the town, he met several brothers he used to be with. If it had been before, he would definitely go up and hook up with them. And now, he thinks that any brother is bullshit. The one who stands by his side when something goes wrong is called a brother. But does he have one? No, he did not. Let alone the people who helped him. Bypassing them, he Anyong went to the supply and marketing cooperative and bought some supplements for old man Zhang. His sister-in-law was right. When you come to find someone to do something, how can you give him less gifts? Not to mention that I still owe him a favor. The money given by his sister-in-law was quite large, and he Anyong did not hesitate to use it all to buy things. Even though his stomach growled, he didn't use any of his sister-in-law's money. After buying 2 buns on the roadside, he Anyong carried the things and went to Mr. Zhang's door. Is Uncle Zhang at home? He Anyong knocked on the door and called. Who? Soon there was a reply from inside, but it sounded a little lackluster. Uncle Zhang, it's me, He Anyong, I'm here to see you. Hearing this, He Anyong said happily. The door opened quickly. Uncle Zhang's eyes lit up when he saw the people outside. You seem to be doing well these days. No, I'm dragging you down. It's okay to live at home. His family has become destitute for his own sake. If he wants to continue to be a bastard, he is really not a human being. Come in quickly, don't worry about being burned to death by the sun, Uncle Zhang said unforgivingly. It's okay, the sun is nothing. Please don't stop voting. The author kneels down. End of this chapter. 80s, the farmer's wife is the boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 236. Chapter 236, Uncle Zhang, please vote for me, please vote for recommendations. You, poor man, why are you free to come here today? Have you taken care of all those things? He also heard that people asked for 10,000, which was not a small amount. He Anyong felt warm in his heart and said with a smile, the matter has been taken care of, the money has been paid, and the family has let me go. I am too young and ignorant. Admit it if you are wrong. Hearing what he said, Uncle Zhang looked at him twice and said, you're not bad, you can turn around. He was very pleased in his heart. Come here for a glass of water. Have you eaten? He was alone, his wife was gone a long time ago, and he had no children, so it was a miracle that he could survive to this day. Those who have experienced that time have the courage to survive. Eat, thank you, Uncle Zhang. He Anyong was not polite, picked up the pot and poured water directly. The 2 buns just made him swallow. Slow down, why are you still such a hot-tempered person? Haha, aren't you thirsty? Okay, let's sit down and get down to business. What are you doing here today? Uncle Zhang asked, pointing to the pile of things at his feet. Just come and see you. He Anyong was a little short of breath. Come on, if you don't want to say anything, forget it. I've already seen it. I won't let you stay for dinner. There is no rice at home. Uncle Zhang became angry. No, Uncle Zhang, we are so familiar, how can you have the nerve to kick me out? The sun is shining outside. He Anyong tried to please him. Come on, let's get down to business. What are you here for? He Anyong didn't dare to say that it was okay. That's it, Uncle Zhang, didn't you say you were engaged in construction? Haha, my cousin-in-law wants to build a house. Didn't I think of you first? Uncle Zhang stared and said, you're not bad, you sold me everything. He was very happy. You kid, you didn't keep your mouth shut. Now you have changed, but if you change back again, you will kill the old man and me. It's easy for him to survive until now. No, Uncle Zhang, don't be angry. I didn't say anything. My sister-in-law only knows that you can build brick houses. I didn't say anything to my sister-in-law. He Anyong was very strict. He will definitely do what he promised. When Uncle Zhang was drunk, he accidentally complained to himself for half the night. Only then did he know the old man's true identity. He also promised that he would not tell anyone about it, even if it was his sister-in-law. Seriously, Uncle Zhang didn't believe it. I swear to God. He Anyong raised 3 fingers to the sky, if I leak Uncle Zhang's information, I will die badly. After hearing this, Uncle Zhang's tense heart relaxed. That's good. I'm just afraid of getting you implicated. You didn't see your situation back then. The past is the past, don't talk about it, Uncle Zhang. He knew that Uncle Zhang would regret it all his life. If he hadn't been unwilling to compromise, how could his family have left him one by one? Okay, what kind of house does your sister-in-law want to build? Your sister-in-law's family is so rich, it is not difficult to repair a house, but it is not cheap to repair a house now. It's not bad, don't worry, your wages and good wine and food are indispensable. After seeing Uncle Zhang come to his senses, He Anyong also laughed. It's a good feeling, but you don't know it. I haven't eaten meat for a long time, Uncle Zhang recalled with a face. Okay, do you want to find some helpers? Also, My sister-in-law asked me to ask you, how much does a full package cost and how much does a half package cost? He remembered all these things. Don't ask me, I don't know. I haven't done this work for a long time. Let's see if you are on your meat, noodles, vegetables. I will go back with you, and then I will talk to your sister-in-law. If he can find a new home, he would prefer to leave here. The relationship is good, Uncle John. Shall we leave now? Of course it would be best to invite the person back directly. You bastard, wait until I clean up. Uncle John made up his mind. Wait. After saying these words, he went straight into the house. He didn't know what he was doing, but after waiting for about half an hour, Uncle John came out with a small bag. Let's go, pick up these things and let's go. He Anyong has overfulfilled his task, right? Mei Shui had no idea that such a big surprise was waiting for her, which would make Hejia village a sacred place in the eyes of the Chinese people. Mei Shui had just finished preparing dinner when she heard a voice calling her outside, so she walked out to take a look. Anyong, you are back. You are tired. Come and have a rest. Mei Shui was very happy to see He Anyong, especially because there was an old man standing next to him. Although it looks a bit sloppy. Sister-in-law, I'm back. Let me introduce you. This is the person I told you, Uncle John. He can build brick houses, He Anyong said with a face full of credit. This appearance is really similar to An Liang, but An Liang is just more likable. Uncle John, please sit down quickly. Mei Shui hurriedly asked people to sit down, politely. When Grandma He saw He Anyong coming up, she slowly pushed the child home. As soon as I entered the door, I heard Zioxiu's flattering voice. Zioxiu, who is here? Grandma He pushed the child in. The children are getting older and more naughty, and now cars can't even hold them. Grandma, this is the master I asked Anyong to hire. He can repair brick houses. Mei Shui quickly stepped forward and took the cart from her grandma. Be quiet, he said to these two brats. The two little guys didn't understand what their mother was talking about. They were very happy to see their mother, and they opened their hands to hug her. He kept calling for his mother, but unfortunately, his words were not clear yet. Okay, don't make any noise. There is a guest at home. You have to be good. My brother will be back soon, and you can play with him. Mei Shui hurriedly comforted her. He also took them out of the cart and put them on the bamboo bed nearby. There is an old quilt on top, so they are not afraid of catching their little buttocks cold. Hello, master, could you please come to our village? Grandma He was more sociable than Mei Shui. As soon as she heard that she was a master, she immediately came to understand the situation. Firstly, he was afraid that Anyong would be deceived, and secondly, he was afraid that Zioxiu could not explain clearly. He Anyong shouted when he saw the third grandma, and then he ran to the children to accompany them. Uncle John was speechless after seeing this dusk. He also knew that the old woman in front of him was the head of this family. The two old men and the old lady became happier and happier as they chatted. They were still chatting until Xiao came back. Mei Shui didn't understand and didn't want to ask more questions. It was rare for Grandma to be happy. Grandma, Master John, let's eat first. Fortunately, she cooked a lot of food today and originally planned to give Xiao breakfast tomorrow morning. Look at me, I can't stop talking about this. Come on, Brother John, let's eat first. Grandma He somehow changed her title, which was really strange. Madam, who is this old man? Xiao is very wary of people outside his family. Don't forget to vote. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 237. Chapter 237, Arrangement. Please subscribe. Xiao can't be rude. This is the master your mother hired to repair the house. You have to give me something to eat, Grandma. He pulled Xiao and said, why don't you call someone, Mrs. Xiao said oh and then looked at the old man opposite. Forget it, someone whose wife can approve will definitely not be too bad-hearted. Hello, madam. Good, 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 the young man is good, he is very vigilant. Uncle Zhang had to praise him. This guy is not only good looking, he also has a lot of mind and eyesight. Mei Shui quickly put the food on the table, and of course he Eniang also ate here. Finally we talked about the house over a meal. Uncle Zhang means that he will find some helpers to repair it together, but the owner has to buy the materials himself. Mei Shui had no objection to this. Mr. Zhang was very satisfied with the meal, and after drinking some wine, he drew a sketch for Mei Shui with a wave of his hand. Mei Shui's eyes lit up when she saw it, but the old man was already drunk. And Yang, during these days when Master Zhang is here, you can accompany him to live in my old house, Grandma. He was satisfied with Xiaoxiu, and she immediately made arrangements. He Eniang certainly agrees. In this way, He Eniang moved into the He family's old house. I don't know how many people are envious of this. Of course, everyone also knew that Mei Shui wanted to repair the house, and everyone was more concerned about it. Mei Shui asked He Eniang to go to town again tomorrow and call He Ans and ask him to pull 2 carts of bricks. The number of bricks was also determined by Master Zhang. It's not enough to buy later, but because we have to pull it up the mountain, we just pull 2 cars back now. Mixu was counting the time, as winter was getting closer and closer. She still planned to build the bathhouse in the back mountain first, far away from water sources. Uncle Zhang almost went blind when he saw this hot spring. There are actually hot springs in this mountain. Could this be a ghost? He spent 2 days looking around, but in the end he didn't get an answer. But there are hot springs here, and he also knows that Mei Shui wants to build a big villa here. So he planned the place again. Of course, this was just his habit. As time went by, He Ans pulled the bricks back and learned that the house was being repaired, so he stayed at home for 2 days. He was accompanied by Xiang Yang, and the convoy was not too busy these days. Looking at the changes in He Ans's family, Xiang Yang was truly envious. But he is not jealous. If he works hard for a few more years, he will have these things, so there is no rush. It is the matter of his wife that gives him a headache. His parents had an affair again, and this time he brought Swan in mainly to avoid his marriage. He Ans couldn't do anything about it. Ans, you said I asked your grandma to help me be a matchmaker, would she agree? Xiang Yang really regretted it, but he still remembered what happened back then. If his heart hadn't been so wild at the time, I'm afraid he would have children now. That's right, He Jiao was pregnant. She didn't get pregnant until half a year after her marriage. The Fang family's parents were very happy about this. He Ans was speechless as he listened to Xiang Yang's words. I'm just afraid it will be difficult. There were not many girls in the village, either they had married him, or they were still young. Then can you help me say no to grandma? Xiang Yang really wanted to find someone to marry. He was older than He Ans. I'll find time to talk to grandma about this, but you'd better not have too much hope. He understood his grandma. The thing I dislike the most is these troubles. The pace at home is so fast that he can't keep up, but it doesn't happen in a day or 2. At night, after He Ans finished hugging his wife, he opened his mouth to mention Xiang Yang to Xiaoxiu. Mei Shui glanced at He Ans. You want to help him? Grandma said this is very troublesome. If the life after marriage is good, it will be a good thing. If not, I'd like to help if I can, but he also knows it. I'm afraid grandma will remember what happened to Jiao last time. He Ans smiled helplessly. It's good that you know that grandma doesn't like these troubles the most. If you really want to help him, go to Grandma Meng, she knows more people than grandma. Mei Shui gave He Ans some advice, but it's best not to get involved with my family, It's troublesome, she looked disgusted. Sure, I have to stay at home for 2 days anyway, and take Xiang Yang to find Grandma Meng tomorrow anyway. He thought of a way, and it was up to him whether Xiang Yang accepted it or not. Well, it's very late. Come on, I'm still busy tomorrow. Mei Shui shrank her body and said. Hian smiled at him. He knew what she was thinking. Don't worry, I have something to do tomorrow. I won't come again. Go to sleep. After saying that, Hians hugged Mei Shui tightly and patted her back gently to let her relax. Come down. Mei Shui relaxed when she saw that he really wanted to sleep. Hians has been taking the pills Zioxu made for him, but he only takes 4 pills every month. In this way, his inner strength became deeper and deeper. Of course Mei Shui would eat it herself. The white mice were fine, so she had nothing to worry about. But the weakened version still had to be tried by someone. The next day, Mei Shui had a candidate. Anyang, come here. Yes, her choice was He Anyang. You will practice martial arts with Hians from now on. If he is not at home, you will practice with Xiao Yu. After saying that, Mei Shui took out a pill. Eat it, it's good for your health. He Anyang didn't think too much about it. It would be great to practice some boxing and kicking skills. He trusted his sister-in-law very much. She said that what is good for the body is good for the body. Seeing him eating so happily, Mei Shui felt a little guilty in her heart. Okay, go and ask him if you don't understand. Of course Hians heard what Zioxu said, and immediately started teaching Anyang when he saw him coming over. He Anyang also studied seriously. He was still practicing after Xiao finished practicing. Mom, Dad, I'm going to school, see you, madam. After Xiao had finished breakfast, he heard his friend calling him from below, and he immediately said goodbye to his family. Okay, go ahead, be careful when walking, don't run or jump around, Grandma said to Xiao worriedly. I understand, ma'am. Xiao is now in his 2nd year. Time flies so fast, 1 year has passed like this. Hians told his grandma after breakfast, and then took Xiang Yang to Grandma Meng's house. Xiang Yang was still a little reluctant to let go, but in order to start a family, he still risked his life. Looking at their backs, Grandma, he looked disgusted. When I introduced Xiao Xiao, I looked reluctant. Now I regret it. Mei Shui knew why her grandma was angry. That's because he was unlucky. Xiao Xiao is about 5 months old now, and I heard she didn't have any reaction. Mei Shui still cared about her few rare friends. She has plenty of chickens and vegetables at home. This all made Sister Lixia jealous. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 238. Chapter 238, Uncle Shi arrives. She is a lucky person, and the Fang family is also a good one, Grandma, he sighed. Grandma, Mr. Zhang from the back mountain said that we need to replan, but I'm afraid these bricks are not enough. Then let Ans do it again. There is no rush at the old house, but Ans said that old man Shi would bring a few friends to stay for 2 days. It is just right for them. Even though they usually quarrel, Grandma, he still likes this old man Shi. Of course, it's not that kind of like, but his personality. Well, I'll make the bed later. Mei Shui was still able to accept the guest at home. Besides, didn't Xiaobai say that we will have to rely on him to make a fortune in the future? Sure, I'm here to watch over the kids. It's getting harder and harder to take care of these 2 little monkeys. My grandma felt bad for her 2 great-grandchildren. It's okay. It will be fine when they are older. When they can walk on their own, we won't have to watch them every day. They will be 1 year old soon, and I don't know if they can learn to walk. I'll be more skinny than Grandma, he said with a look of disbelief. Speak to the other side. When Hians brought Xiang Yang to Grandma Meng's house, she had just finished breakfast and was about to go out for a chat. Grandma Jinghua, are you going out? Hians walked into Grandma Meng's yard and shouted. Hey, Ans is here, why are you here, come on, come and sit. Regarding the juniors, Grandma Meng still likes them to come. Come and see you, Grandma said you had a cold a few days ago, are you feeling better now? Ans's mouth was so sweet. Okay, okay, people are old and no longer useful, so they need to take medicine, Grandma Meng said with a smile on her face. After chatting for a while, Ans explained the reason for his visit. He also pushed Xiang Yang out. Seeing the person, Grandma Meng smiled and nodded. The young man is in good condition, but why do you choose a girl from our village when your conditions are so good? Grandma Meng is a little confused about this. Don't people in cities look down on people in rural areas? Grandma is joking, why are there people from the city and not from the city? My grandma's generation is not all from the countryside. Xiang Yang's, we can still say it. Then farmers are not ashamed. If it weren't for farmers like us, the city people wouldn't even have food to eat. Can't. Xiang Yang started chatting with Grandma Meng, and Ans was listening. He didn't say much, just listened. After talking for a while, Grandma Meng agreed to introduce Xiang Yang to the Prime Minister and asked him to come back next time and give him a confirmation letter then. After saying goodbye to Grandma Meng, Xiang Yang said with a smile on his face, haha, I think Grandma Meng is very reliable. Ans, if this happens, I will definitely give you a big red envelope. Come on, let's get started. Don't compare the girls in the village with those in the city. Everyone in the village has to work in the fields. The difference between urban people and rural people is life. One has to work in the fields, while the other works in the factory. One is exposed to the wind and sun, while the other is protected from the wind and sun. Don't worry, if I have any interest in those people in the city, why would I come to your village to look for you? Actually, what he values is the simplicity. The conditions of his family are really not good. Even if they are building a fleet together now, but they have no money, they have invested all their money in it. The family still relies on their parents for food. As long as you have this idea, okay, go back quickly. We will go back to the county town tomorrow. Brother Xiao can't do it alone. Well, let's get ready and collect some vegetables in the village to take back. Good. After Xiang Yang's matter was decided, Ans began to ask Mr. Zhang how many bricks or other things were needed at home so that he could prepare to bring them back together. Master Zhang was very knowledgeable about this matter. With a stroke of his pen, he handed Ans a piece of paper. The things to buy are written in it. Ans looked at a piece of paper full of paper. He felt that it would be better not to repair the house. Xiaoxiu, look, this is the list the old man gave me. He felt that the old man was up to something. Mei Shui looked at it and found that she still understood some basic things. After reading from beginning to end, she handed the list to Ans, buy it according to the old man's price. If you don't have enough money, I will give you some later. Ans really didn't have enough money. Well, you have to give me money, I don't have much money left. Mei Shui went back to the house and got him 5,000 yuan. Use it first. If it's not enough, you can get it when you come back next time. Mei Shui felt uneasy about putting it on him. Good. After Ans had a good meal, he left home again. He knew that his grandma and Xiaoxiu would definitely scold him at home after he left. Repairing the house requires a lot of people, and within a few days, most of the people in the village were hired. Mei Shui felt that the money she had on hand was really not enough. Fortunately, the god of wealth is here. Uncle Shi, come in quickly. Seeing the person coming, Mei Shui's face became even more enthusiastic. This made Uncle Shi scared. Xiaoxiu, the old man doesn't seem to have done anything bad. For some reason, he felt that he was being cared about by Xiaoxiu. Grandpa Shi, what are you talking about? Come in quickly, the sun is shining brightly outside. Mei Shui was speechless. At this time, Grandma He pulled the boss and the second child over and said, okay, don't scare people away. Come in quickly, Do you still need someone to invite me, Grandma? He was not polite to old man Shi at all. Hearing the familiar tone and words, Uncle Shi breathed a sigh of relief. Hey, this is right. You just owe it, Grandma, he sighed. The three people following behind were a little confused. Is this the old man from the Shi family? Or the king of in the army? Still that. Old Shi, what are you doing? The people behind him were so frightened that they pulled the old man's clothes. Uncle Shi finally came back to his senses. Come in quickly, let me introduce you. This is Sister He, she is my sister, and this is Xiaoxiu, her granddaughter-in-law, and also my god-granddaughter. Uncle Shi interpreted the live version of Shamelessness is Invincible. You are enough, how can you have such a beautiful granddaughter? A gray-haired old man pushed Uncle Shi and asked. Are you worthy? The expressions on the other two's faces were, that's right, are you worthy? Mei Shui feels that life at home will be lively in the future. You are just jealous, but it's okay, just go ahead and be jealous. Uncle Shi looked unconcerned. Sister, it's already noon, look. Uncle Shi explained his shamelessness again. Eat, 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 you will know how to eat, and I won't be afraid of killing you. He handed the two children into Xiaoxiu's hands. Are you friends of old man Shi? Looking at the three people beside Uncle Shi, Grandma, he asked with disbelief. The difference between you is too big. These old men have just left Kyoto, and they naturally carry an aura that is incomparable to Uncle Shi's shamelessness. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 239. Chapter 239, Disciple He Enyang. Hello, sister, we are his friends. The three of them still looked at each other. You guys really have no vision. Grandma He's face was full of disgust. Sister, don't say that, big brother, I'm fine. Uncle Shi quit. Seeing a group of old men and women bickering there, Mei Shui naturally held the children away from them. By the time the two children couldn't bear to leave their wife, they screamed a few times. Of course, a group of gods were also brought back. Come on, let my wife see you, you two have grown so big. Uncle Shi came over immediately after hearing the children's screams. The two children did not recognize their children, and when they saw someone approaching, they immediately stretched out their hands. Uncle Shi smiled so happily, haha, come on, my wife bought you a lot of delicious food and nice clothes. The three old men who followed also understood why Mr. Shi bought so many things. Because they saw the smile on the He family's eldest sister's face changed significantly after she saw the food and gifts in the bag. But they didn't think much about it. They were just guests, so of course the gifts couldn't be less. There is no one in this world who owes anything to anyone. They are teething now, so give them less candy. Grandma He complained. Come in quickly, you haven't eaten yet. Why don't you come over and eat quickly? The identities of the three old men who came with Uncle Shi are not simple. Of course, now that they have retired, and due to family reasons, their identities are not so sensitive. Most of these people hold high positions in Kyoto. Of course, there is also a fisherman, Mr. Hua. He didn't have what he wanted in Kyoto, so he came over with his old friends to have some fun. He is still in office now, but he has nothing to do on weekdays, and he only has a name. Mr. Hua works in the Ministry of Agriculture. His favorite things are flowers and plants. In addition to his old age, he rarely does anything. This time I came just because I was worried about a few of my friends. He made a choice many years ago, which led to the peaceful life he has now. Many people are envious of this. As soon as he heard about eating, Uncle Shi returned the child to Mei Shui. Madam, go eat first and come back to play with you later. Looking at Uncle Shi's behavior, Mei Shui gave him a dirty look. If you don't have children, you just want to drink. It's a pity that there is no wine in the house now. Not only Qian Xiang took them away, And when and the others no longer make wine here. Uncle Shi's hopes were dashed. Mei Shui smiled happily, let's go, Mom will take you to dinner. As Mei Shui expected, as soon as he entered the main room, Mr. Shi looked at the table and saw that he was not happy without wine. Sister, why is there no wine today? His biggest interest in coming here is wine. Grandma, he rolled her eyes at him, there is no wine at home for a long time. Boss Jian took away all the wine in the first half of the year. Didn't you drink it? I drank it, but Zioxiu and the others didn't make any wine after that. Uncle Shi was anxious. I haven't made any wine. Now Anwen and his friends have opened a winery. They have gone to the winery in town to make wine. We can't put it here at home, Grandma, he explained in a straightforward manner. Uncle Shi opened his mouth and couldn't close it. Sister, are you really gone at all? Grandma, he laughed rudely when she saw his pitiful look. We're gone with the medicinal wine, but there's still some wine made from Xiaomei, not much, she drank a lot of it on weekdays. That's fine, it's better than nothing. After hearing that there was still wine, Uncle Shi didn't look bad. What else don't a group of old men understand? They are here just to drink. Of course, they have also tasted the taste of the wine. Not to mention, it tastes really good and their bodies are still warm after drinking it. Everyone opened their eyes wide and looked at Sister He, who was bringing the wine. Mei Shui had already packed the food and took her two children outside to feed them. The greed in the stomachs of the four old men was aroused the moment they opened the wine. Grandma, he is not a stingy person, at least the wine here is worthy of what they brought. Don't just drink. Eat some food. You are quite old. Don't you know that drinking too much can harm your health? No matter what Grandma he said, they just refused to listen. In the end, Grandma couldn't stand these people anymore, so she walked out with her rice bowl, a bunch of drunken lunatics. Grandma, I'm afraid the bartender at home can't keep up, Mei Shui teased her grandma with a smile. Humph, buy me as much as you want to drink, it's only a few months now, go into the mountains and get me grapes. Grandma, he didn't pity these old men at all. You can have this. Grapes after the Mid-Autumn Festival are the sweetest, even the wild grapes in the mountains are a little sweeter. Grandma, how can they sleep in the old house? There are only 3 rooms, and 4 people can't sleep in them. It's okay, let them find their own way, don't open your and Aunt's rooms, Grandma, he ordered. Well, I know, I didn't make the bed. Mei Shui was not stupid. Eat quickly, go and eat by yourself after feeding. During the lunch meal, these 4 old men were not fed. They were all looking forward to dinner. What a pity, is Grandma he such a kind person? Meixue didn't care about these things. After coaxing the children to take a nap, she went to the back mountain. I don't know how the cultivation is going here. It's just 2 simple houses. I think they've been repaired. It's been a few days. Sure enough, when Mei Shui came over, the door of the second room happened to be installed. Sister-in-law, you're here, just in time. Look, is there anything missing here? He Anyang ran over immediately when he saw the person coming and told Mei Shui the current progress. After looking at it, Mei Shui was very satisfied with the place, except that there were 2 more rooms. Sister-in-law, the master said that there is always a place where people can change their clothes, He Anyang said, a little embarrassed. Mei Shui has been at home these days and has not come over. He Anyang wanted to tell his sister-in-law, but his master held him back and kept him from coming. That's why Mei Shui knows nothing about this place. It's okay, Master Zhang is right, she really didn't expect it before. But this way there are fewer bricks. That's good. I'm afraid my sister-in-law will be angry with the master, it's really hard for him to be caught in the middle. No, you will always listen to your master from now on. What he said is correct. Mei Shui didn't know that just because of such a sentence, she lost an unknown amount of money. He Anyang has been accompanying Mr. Zhang. Mr. Zhang didn't know that there was something wrong with him. As soon as he woke up, he accepted He Anyong as his disciple. He Jianbei's family has no objections to this matter. Mr. Zhang is still living at He Anyong's house. It means that the living standard at home is a bit worse. Vote. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 240. Chapter 240, Xiang Yang wants to find a wife. But Mr. Zhang is also a thoughtful person, so he gave part of his pension money to Aunt Yang. The Aunt Yang now is not the Aunt Yang before, she is very humble and kind. She has been refusing to accept it. In the end, if it weren't for the real difficulties at home, she would not accept it. In this regard, Mr. Zhang is concerned about any good things at home, as long as his family does not starve to death. Of course, don't even think about eating meat every day, that's impossible. After the four old men arrived, there was a lot of gossip in Hejia village, covering everything. But now the village relies on Jiahe's vegetable crops, so everyone doesn't have too many bad intentions in their words. There is no rush to flatter everyone. No, after living here for a few days, the four old men have already integrated into the life of the village. Let me tell you, the outside world is not that beautiful, and it can't compare to our village. But, do you think these vegetables, rice, and water are available to people in the city? Each of them almost praised the countryside as Kyoto. But it also gained everyone's joy. Sister, don't you have to go to work today? Uncle Shi is a little tired from working these days. Go, why don't you go? Since and when left with Anshan, there have been more snakes and insects in the back mountain. It's a pity that of course she can't make this good thing come cheap to outsiders. He asked He Jianbei to come over and help catch him. But he couldn't catch it all by himself, so a few helpers happened to come. Follow me to the back mountain to catch game today. With a wave of his hand, Grandma, he set off with the four of them. Mei Shui couldn't hold back her laughter. These four old men were treated obediently by her grandma. She really didn't realize that Grandma was capable of this. After the bathhouse is repaired, the large courtyard in the back mountain will also start to be repaired. Hians will only have about 10 days away from home this time. He and Xiang Yang came back with 2 more carts of things, and invited some people from the village to move them to the back mountain. At this time, the 4 old men were alarmed, and they insisted on going over to take a look. Mei Shui has no objection to this, but Grandma he is always reluctant. Since they were so well behaved, I finally took them there. When they learned that there was a hot spring here, the 4 old men were so excited that they almost took off their clothes and went into the water. Fortunately, Mr. Zhang also stopped him and said that the cement inside was not dry yet and he had to wait. Grandma he has been angry for a long time because of this matter. Daughter-in-law, do you miss me? The first thing Hians did when he came back was to go home to find his wife. Fortunately, Mei Shui stays at home every day these days. Very comfortable. Relax, the children are still here. The 2 little kids didn't understand their parents' affection, so they clapped their hands directly at their father. Dad, Dad, Dad. The words in his mouth were very clear. Mei Shui is not jealous either, mainly because she has eaten it. The first person they will call is wife, then dad, and then she. Because of this matter, she ignored them for several days. Finally they cried and learned to call mother. Come, daddy, give me a hug. Hians also knew not to annoy his wife in broad daylight. Uncle Shi and the others are here, 4 of them. Mei Shui also informed him of some of the family's situation. Well, I saw them when I went to Uncle Shi's house last time. Are the old men getting along well? Hians was worried about this. It's okay, Grandma took care of her very obediently. Thinking of this, Mei Shui was happy. Hians never expected that his grandma would have this ability. It seems they like the life in the village very much. Well, they get along well with the people in the village. Hey, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but Jian Xiang told me 2 days ago that his father also wants to live here. Mr. Zhao's situation is different. He is sick and can walk around on weekdays, but he does not dare to stray too far from the hospital. There is not even a good doctor in this village. Isn't he still ill? Mei Shui also knew that this was coming, and asked with a puzzled look on her face. I don't know, he just told me to help clean up the room. Hans wanted to refuse, but in the end he was embarrassed. Well, let me clean up the house we used to live in. Grandma said before that she wouldn't use it. Well, just look at the arrangements. Because of Mr. Zhao, 2 doctors with good medical skills came to the village, but they were both Chinese medicine doctors. Mr. Zhao's illness has nothing that Western medicine can do, and in the end, it can only be treated with traditional Chinese medicine. A man and a woman, both in their 50s, were invited by Boss Zhao to follow them because they were familiar with the old man. As soon as the 2 carts of goods were unloaded, Xiangyang came up the mountain. You're going to be lazy. When Xiangyang came in, he would just like his own home, pouring water and finding food by himself. I feel at ease with you here, he ans, this shameless person. Xiangyang, are you hungry? Do you want to eat something to cushion your stomach first? Now she went to prepare lunch. No, we eat a lot in the morning. Xiangyang shook his head after drinking a large glass of water. That's it, you and he ans rest at home for a while, and I'll prepare lunch. Then thank you, Xiaoxiu. After Xiaoxiu left, Xiangyang looked at Heans and asked, when will we go to Grandma Meng's place? Heans glanced at him and said, go now. He knew he was impatient. Xiaoxiu, I'll take Xiangyang to Grandma Meng's house, and I'll take the kids out to play too. Mei Shui was busy in the kitchen. When she heard Heans's call, she replied, go. Xiangyang is very good at getting things done. He came today and bought some things for Grandma Meng. Each person held a child in his arms. After arriving at the creek, Xiangyang went to the car and took out the things he bought. Let's go. Grandma Meng knew that Xiangyang was coming and knew that he might come soon, so she waited at home early. After he told her last time, she paid attention to it. Don't mention it, there is only one girl in the village who is not married, and that is he and me. But with her temper, forget it, she still has a conscience. Finally, with the help of my daughter-in-law, I found a very suitable girl in the first team, but the girl's family conditions were a bit poor. He is a pretty good-looking man, and there are no messy things at home. Everyone is very reasonable. It's just because my grandma is seriously ill and the family has lost money. In terms of personality, Grandma Meng likes her even more. After hearing the sound and meeting the person, Grandma Meng liked the little girl even more. If there was no suitable one at home, she would not be willing to introduce her to Xiangyang. Soon Xiangyang and the others arrived at Grandma Meng's house. Grandma Meng's daughter-in-law Aunt Yan was also at home, waiting for Xiangyang to come. Here you are, oh, Dabao and Xiaobao are also here. Let's have a kiss with my wife. Grandma Meng was very happy when she saw the 2 of them coming with He Shipeng and Shi Cheng in their arms. She is quite envious on weekdays. It's a new week again, let's vote. End of this chapter. 80s, the farmer's wife is the boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 241. Chapter 241, Candidates, please vote for recommendations, monthly votes. MRS. The 2 little boys may have gotten to know the people in the village, and they were very sweet. But the one who knows how to call me the most is my wife. Even if they were asked to call her Aunt Yan, they would still call her MRS. Because there is no grandma at home, they haven't learned it yet. Come here and sit down. Give me the child and I'll hold it. Aunt Yan took the child from Xianjiang's hand. The little treasure is in Hean's hands. Xiangyang, your grandma helped you find a family, but the conditions of that family are not as good as yours. It can be said to be very poor. After a conversation between the two of them, Grandma Meng started talking about business. Xiang Yang is not an impatient person, and he knew what Grandma Meng meant when he heard this. Grandma is very fond of that girl, right? Otherwise she wouldn't have asked this question. Yeah, Grandma Meng nodded. If it weren't for the fact that there was no junior in the family who could match her, I would really be reluctant to introduce him to you. This is what she said sincerely. Xiang Yang felt happy and said, please take care of Grandma Meng. Well, I don't know if you are destined or if you are lucky. Don't feel bad just because the conditions at home are poor. Bala, Bala, Grandma Meng said a lot of good things about the girl to Xiang Yang. It can be seen that Grandma Meng really likes that little girl. This is what matters at home. If we really get married, the dowry will be nothing. Grandma Meng didn't lie either. Think about it for yourself. If it works, I will ask you Aunt Yan to bring the little girl here later. Xiang Yang glanced at He Ans and felt sad when he saw that he was having a lot of fun teasing the children and not paying attention to him at all. Okay, I listened to Grandma Meng, and I also believe in Grandma Meng's vision. Since everything happens for a reason, everything about dowry is a trivial matter. If it was really that good, he wouldn't mind it. Since she is his wife from now on, he will not let her be wronged. That's it, I'll ask your Aunt Yan to call someone. It may be a little late and the journey is a bit far. It's okay. Do you want me to drive Aunt Yan there? Xiang Yang was actually a little anxious. Haha, don't, I'll just ask your Uncle Jinan to see her off, Grandma Meng said with a smile. This matter has been settled, Xiang Yang will come back later. Aunt Yan was very reluctant to part with the big and small treasures. But she still let them go back. She still had things to do. Mei Shui made a lot of lunch, but there was nothing she could do, mainly because there were so many people at home. By the time He Ans and the others came back, Mei Shui's food was all on the table. You're back, come and eat. Mei Shui approached the two of them and took the children from their hands. You brat, are you having fun? Seeing the two of them being very excited, Mei Shui tightened her grip on the child. Mom, Mom, Mom. The two of them were also very happy to be hugged by their mother, and each of them hugged their mother's head and shouted. Xiaoxiu, why don't I take the hug? He Ans felt a little distressed when he saw Mei Shui holding two children by herself. It's okay, come and eat quickly. Aren't you hungry? Mei Shui dodged He Ans's hand. Grandma He also hurried back, followed by 5 old men, all with excitement on their faces. Xiaoxiu, do you have food to eat? I'm starving to death. Grandma He felt hungry for the first time. Grandma, all the gentlemen are back. The meal is ready. Come over and wash your hands and eat. When he saw someone coming back, He Ans didn't fight with Xiaoxiu for the children. Okay, I'm going to starve to death, old lady. The 5 old men were also hungry, but they were more or less careful about their image. Ans, old man, I have to have a good drink with you today. It's been a long time since I last saw you. Uncle She did not miss the opportunity to drink at all. In his heart, he always felt that the elder sister was stingy and did not give him good wine to drink. Now that her grandson is back, let's see if she is still stingy. He Ans was speechless. Uncle She, we just met a few days ago. Also, we haven't made any wine at home for a long time. If you want to drink it, you may have to wait until next time. Meixiu ignored them, put the children away first, and then went to get towels for them. Where was the ancestor? At the table, Uncle She looked depressed. Unexpectedly, he really didn't have enough wine to drink. It seemed that it was time for Xiaoxiu to get busy. After dinner, Grandma He asked Xiang Yang a bit too much, asking him what news Grandma Meng had given him. Xiang Yang didn't hide anything and directly said that he would have a fortune teller in the afternoon. As soon as he heard this, Grandma He became interested and said, okay, Grandma Meng is reliable in doing things. I will go with you in a while. Ans should not go. What if someone else takes a fancy to him? Sure, I feel more at ease when grandma is here. Xiang Yang thanked her sincerely. Okay, let's rest for a while and then we'll go there. You can't let other girls wait for you. The appointed time was not far away, so Xiang Yang had no objection. Okay, I'll listen to grandma. The old men were still drinking wine together, but the wine was not from Mei Shui's house. He Anyong bought it from Uncle Jigui's house. Uncle Drunkard had been abducted to the town by Wen and the others a long time ago. Now his youngest son is at home, and he is the one who brewed the wine. The family's business is not much, but it can support a large family, and we can't all leave, so the youngest is left to look after the house. Meixiu also wants to go. The village has been too peaceful recently and she feels a little bored. Hians, let's go there in a while, Mei Shui discussed with Hians privately. Hians was stunned and asked with a smile, do you want to go? Think about it, I haven't seen a blind date yet. Sure, let's wait until grandma and the others pass before we go, otherwise grandma won't let us go. Okay, just in time I put Xiaopeng and Xiaocheng to sleep, Mei Shui was also thinking in her mind. Hians followed Mei Shui back to the room holding the child. Let me tell you something. Mei Shui thought about her pills and planned to tell Hians. Hians didn't know, what's the matter, is there anything else that she's not sure about? Seeing the look in his eyes, Mei Shui knew that he was overthinking. I'm just informing you, Mei Shui said with some embarrassment. She felt that she had underestimated the world, and some things must not be as thoughtful as he and grandma thought. Like the weakened version of He Anyong, the effect is very good after taking it, and she also plans to start using it for her grandma in the evening. Uncle Shi and the others are witnesses. Okay, wife, tell me, what's the matter? Hians knew that his gaze just now offended Xiaoxiu. I didn't give you the pills last time. I made some food for ordinary people. I plan to give it to grandma and sell it in the future, Mei Shui said very simply. Hians was startled. Xiaoxiu, didn't you say that the pill is very precious? I can understand giving it to grandma, but if you sell it? He felt something was wrong. Of course the vintage of the medicinal materials I gave you is precious, but the ones that ordinary people take are not so precious. However, the formula is a bit rare, and they are all from the medical book last time. Mei Shui didn't hide it from him either. It's best not to show what Xiaobai gave us to others. Xiaoxiu, you don't understand. There are many bad people in this world. Hians wanted to organize his words, not wanting to scare her. I know, I'm not a fool. Mei Shui rolled her eyes at him. I'm just going to discuss this with you, and you can decide whether or not it will work out. Don't forget, thank you all. End of this chapter.